You really don't expect it to be as real as it is until you get out here. And then you get out here and you're like, oh, damn, like I really got to take a dump in the water. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm really not watching. Like, every bath is with salt water. Like, I really got to fill up my water at a well. You know what I mean? Like, it's real. And you don't really know that until you hear exactly how real it is and you really start to feel it. So, I mean, it was freeing, just being out here and just knowing you could. Like, I know I had more to give, but just really pushing yourself in terms of how far you can go in terms of what you need. I mean, it was definitely a good experience. I think socially is much tougher than what you would think than physically, because everything incorporates a bit of social game. Even when you are doing something physical, you somehow have to be able to socialize. You somehow have to be able to communicate with people that you might not normally communicate with. I've never communicated with anybody doing something physically that wasn't able to get something done. So the way that I would talk to somebody who trains just as hard as I do is different from the person who's never, done something physically that I have. So you got to remember that, but you also have to remember not to be so harsh, or the way that I would talk to my boy is not the way that I can talk to this mom of three. There's definitely a social aspect of it tied into everything, whether it's what you're going to eat that night. What you say might not go. You're dealing with a group of four other people at a time, where they're used to a different thing. They've eaten a different thing. They don't need as much as you to eat. And you just have to remember that everything you're doing socially, no matter what conditions you're under, ties into the game. And at any moment, it could have a negative effect or a positive effect on your game. And you just got to keep that in mind. So I think socially is definitely tough, because you always have to be aware. I've learned a lot about myself. And, at times it's like I've also learned that it's not as easy as we think to really, cover who we are. No matter what, the real you is going to come out some way, some shape, some form. And I think once you know that, now that I do, you adjust accordingly. It's easy to be around somebody and a situation to change, and you just remove yourself from the situation. You don't have to be around those people. You just, I'm gone. I just won't be around that person anymore. I don't like them. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to be bothered with them. So you get away from them. Out here you can't. And the toughest part about it is the next day you got to wake up in the morning and work with that person to get something done and win something, for the good of the tribe. So it becomes where, your weakest link in your mind, or the most annoying person in your mind, might be your biggest asset, and you have to learn that. But at the end of the day, I know one thing that I wanted to do was to come in here and stay true, and be myself. And no matter what, I think I did that. I had to twist and turn a little bit. I didn't want to lie as much as I had to, but for the sake of the game and for me to get this experience, I had to. And I think that, I stayed true to myself for the most part, and I stayed pretty genuine. So that was my game, to play the game how I wanted to play the game. Not like anybody else that I've seen play the game, not try to be anybody else, not try to do what somebody else does. And I think, I stayed on path with that. And I'm satisfied with how I went. I'm not satisfied with how I went out, but, it's part of the game. You win some, you lose some. And the best thing about it is I know when I left the game, I had way more to give, so that's disappointing, but I don't control that. And I'm satisfied with how I went out, and the fact that the game didn't break me. I could have gave a lot more. Survivor is a real raw, uncut version of different people with different journeys meeting in the same spot with the bare minimums, trying to bring a piece of them from their reality, from their past, into one thing, and trying to accomplish a goal. And that's the beauty of it, because everybody comes from something different. Everybody is a pro at something different. Everybody is a professional at something different. And when you're brought here, you're at your bare minimum of that. You don't have all of the things that more than likely make you great at what you do. And so when you get here, it's just a raw, real, uncut race, start to finish, of all of those things combined. And it's 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 beautiful because some people make enemies out of this game. Some people make long-lasting friendships out of this game. Some people walk away with fulfillment. Some people walk away with resentment. And to me, that's beautiful when you can get so many different feelings from the same experience. And it's a beautiful thing when I sit back and think about it. And I really think it's just it's real. It's just real.